Victory by any means, as we say, makes everyone lose. It's a burning issue today that we work even harder to generate respect for international humanitarian law. In fact, often the laws of war are followed. It's just that we don't hear about it. And we in ICRC need to come up with creative and innovative ways to deal with authorities, to deal with non-state armed groups, and to deal with the general public to make sure they understand the benefits for everyone of even wars having limits. Probably one of the biggest obstacles to the implementation of international humanitarian law, or IHL, is lack of political will. I think that the laws themselves, whilst not perfect and often need a little bit of updating around the edges, are pretty solid. It's pretty clear you must distinguish between civilians and combatants. You must treat those who are detained humanely. You must not attack hospitals. But political will to implement them is something we need to keep working on. We need to be more persuasive with those who are engaged in conflict. We need the help of obviously the authorities. We need, whether it be the ministries of foreign affairs, the lawyers, the judges, the military, we need definitely their help, and we're very good traditionally with working with them. But we also need the help of academics, which is why it was so exciting to be involved in the discussions. We need the help of journalists, and it's been a great opportunity to have a number of interviews with media here in Moscow. We need them to spread the word of the importance of IHL, and we need the help of the general public to actually care and think that it's worthwhile for their authorities to put restraints on the way that they fight war. So basically the answer is everyone. We're very much keen on working hard with states on trying to create a potential forum for states to increase compliance with IHL. It means we need to look at the issue of detention, particularly during times of non-international armed conflict, both from an operational perspective, but also from the work that we're doing in creating some guidelines in that area. We need to look at the priority of sexual and gender-based violence, which is a terrible problem globally, and work out ways we can strengthen the understanding of the prohibition of this and the destruction that sexual violence brings upon communities. But we're also looking at issues relating to weapons. We need to look at cyber warfare, autonomous warfare, how technology impacts upon the use of weapons. The final thing we are doing is more research in looking at what influences the behaviour of those who fight war. Because the law is very important, but also psychology is important. How can we try and influence those to think differently when they're involved in conflict? I think over many years, ICRC has realised that it's important to explain the law at a very technical level to the technical people, to the lawyers and the judges, but also find ways to make connections with people, to make the law not just be here, but also be in people's hearts, to make them feel the importance of it. I think ICRC is certainly changing the way it wants to connect with people on this topic. Having said that, I'm also a boring international lawyer, or a committed international lawyer, and we must not ever forget the importance of doing big technical projects. The world does look to us to also have that role, to do research projects on things such as the commentaries, updating the commentaries after 50 years, that is really important to stay technical. I think since we were created, we've actually been involved in very strong messages. If you go into the archives and look back at the sort of things ICRC has always been saying, they're quite clear and strong. Since the atomic weapons were first used during World War II, ICRC has been calling for their prohibition. What we need to do though now is, because things are more political in their debate, because people have more access through different types of media to more information, it means we have to be even more rigorous in making sure that we don't single out one country, we don't say this country should give up this weapon, but actually take it to the level where we say, as a humanitarian organisation, we're worried about the use of this weapon, we're worried about humanitarian consequences of any particular types of weapons, and we urge states to carefully work towards, for example, getting rid of nuclear weapons. So I think the nuclear weapons one is a particularly complex one. In many other areas of weapons, we are very clear on cluster munitions, on landmines, on blinding laser weapons, and also in having not a legal dialogue but a policy dialogue where we urge parties to a conflict that they should not use, for example, weapons, highly explosive weapons that have a wide impact. I do think at the same time we need to also balance our particular way of working. There is value in us remaining confidential in our dialogues. There is value in us not taking political stances on things, talking about the issues rather than talking about the politics. So I think open-mindedness in the way we engage the public, I think we're shifting, and we need to be able to absorb different views more easily, but not getting rid of the elements that I think makes ICRC very special, very unique, and in the current environment perhaps needed more than ever before.